for joining me here on So Stitch Hex. Today, I want to talk about marketing and paying for spiritual goods and services. So this is a thing that's very debatable in the community. Some of it comes from tradition and some of it just comes from personal bias. One of the things that I've noticed is with things like tarot and Reiki and herbs and other services or goods that you can produce, people don't really want to pay for them. With tarot, it's considered bad to charge for your tarot readings. Just like you're not supposed to get your first deck yourself, you're supposed to be gifted it from a friend. I find this to be counterintuitive because maybe you're a closeted witch, or maybe you're never going to get your own tarot deck from someone. Maybe all your friends are poor and you're never going to get one. If you have a deck of cards, you can use that as a substitute, but it's not a tarot deck, and you wouldn't be allowed to get your own tarot deck. Whereas I think this is debatable with oracle decks. I think that's just a tradition that caters to the idea that the only way to become a witch is to be initiated into a coven, which I do not believe is the case. Some people still believe that to be a real witch, you have to be initiated into some sort of coven that is pre-existing, but there has never been there would never have just been a coven to initiate you. There always had to be a first-time witch, and there's never just going to be a coven next to you. You may just be a witch. I find the concept of having to be initiated to be stupid. You can if you want to, and if you find a coven that makes you happy, do it. This is important because, with all goods and services, that can put a damper on the tarot decks you buy, when you buy a tarot deck, and if you charge for readings. The main topic today was supposed to be about you as a person charging for a reading. So say you're you divine for someone and they don't pay you, but they offer you a barter and trade instead. Say they buy you a Starbucks Frappuccino, or they trade you some pretty item that you happen to like that they think is worth your time, your knowledge, and your interpretation of their reading that you're giving them. So I believe it is fair to do a barter and trade, but it's also fair to require payment. If you want to charge $20 a reading, that's perfectly fine. It's your time, it's your energy, and it's your interpretation. If you want to do it for free, do it for free. If you want to accept donations, accept donations. But don't expect me to do something for free just because you don't think it's ethical to charge for my time, my knowledge, my understanding, my skill. The fact that it is energetically tiring to do a reading once you've done enough of them, or if you're in a chaotic environment because you are doing it in a coffee shop or at a fair or a public event. It's not reasonable to assume that I'm just going to work for free, and I wouldn't expect anyone to. This is true for things like Reiki. People assume that you need to do your Reiki healing for free. Some people have to pay upwards of a few hundred to thousands of dollars just to get their Reiki mastery. Why on earth would I do a Reiki treatment for free if I spent hundreds to become a Reiki master? Yes, I could do it out of the goodness of my heart, out of the wanting to heal someone, but I'm going to charge for my time. I'm going to charge for the energy that it took to do it. I'm going to charge for, getting my money back to pay, bills. I spent money to get a certificate. I need to charge for my services. You wouldn't expect a doctor to go to school and then never get paid. Ever. It's an unreal assumption. I also see this with things like sage bundles. Now, I personally don't use sage. I don't use smoke cleansing at all. I like sound. I occasionally use water or sprays, but I'm much more of a sound person. But some people do use sage. I don't use sage, and I don't smudge because that's just too messy for me. I don't like all the mess. I still appreciate people asking the plant if it wants to do what it wants to do. But I don't really want to burn plants and all over the place in the house unless it's for like one thing. It's not going to be to cleanse my space. That's too much smoke for me. But I feel like people freak out too much over sage. Like they're saying like it's the bad energies on it. It's cultural appropriation. They are like taking something that isn't right, and it could be have like bad things associated with it. And like so could the romaine you bought at the grocery store. Who knows? Maybe Billy Joe Bob's wife was like cheating on him with the milkman, and he went out, picked the romaine that you bought organically at the neighborhood flea market, and you picked up some romaine and it has the bad energy, and then you clean it and then you eat it, but you didn't cleanse it, because there is a difference between cleaning and cleansing, which this difference is basically just in the spiritual intent. Are you focusing on cleansing spiritually as well as physically? Because you can be covered in dirt and be spiritually clean, but you can also be clean and be like spiritually covered in gunk. And it's the idea that you're not being mindful with what you're saying in this concept. So you're worried about getting bad energy on the sage that, let's say, Maria, who took and grew from a seed that she acquired or that she found naturally wildcrafting, because sage does grow different, like not just like, I'm not talking about white sage, but various kinds of sage, because there's more than one, just grow in the woods. You could go find it, cultivate it in your house, or you could find the seeds online and grow it from start in your house. Maybe you have a full garden of it because you're just great at it, or you had money to buy all the seeds and now you're selling little bundles that you wrapped yourself. And this character here, Maria, worked really hard. She put so much energy into it. Maybe she even spent the time to talk to her plants, because some people do. I will occasionally. I usually praise my sunflowers when they're doing good. But like, she put this time and this energy and this love, and you're upset because it's cultural appropriation that she grew this seed from the ground herself, harvested it, and is now marketing the product she grew, she made, and spent her time, her energy, her water, as much as we want to think. Water's not free. The pot she put it in, or the ground, the land she put it in, isn't necessarily free. We have to pay for that now. The dirt she put it in, she probably used something to help it grow. And you want her to do it for free or not at all. And she worked her butt off for it. Like, yes, you say this is ethically sourced, or that it's sourced just from, like, say it's sage and you say it has to be like a native who sold it to you. But how do you know that they don't have like other issues going on? Like, Maria could just as easily have issues as this guy over here, but you don't know what's going on. You don't know what kind of energy they're putting into the product. With anything, there could be bad energies. Just like when you buy a new tool, you are meant to cleanse it, not just sanitize it, but cleanse it spiritually. Like, get rid of the other energies, ask it to be your new tool, ask it to be yours and do what you want, ask it to work with you or for you, however you do it. And you expect it to be done after you've cleansed it. You should also, cleanse your herbs. You could ask your herbs to help and you could cleanse them. So I just find this concept of you can't buy it because it could have bad energy on it kind of dumb when you don't know what kind of energy is there. Like, once you buy it, you should be able to figure it out. Do you get a good feeling or a bad feeling? Just as easy as that. Cleanse it yourself with your energy. Ask it to work for you. And just remember that it doesn't have to just be a spiritual object. Like, how many people do you know pray over their food anymore? I usually make like a tiny joke in my head. Like it's a random when I will, but I'll be like, hey, it'd be cool if I don't choke on this. Thanks. And that'd be like it. I don't usually ask to be nutritiously sustained by my meal. I don't normally ask to feel full, because I'm going to feel full. I can eat a side salad and not finish it and still be full. I don't eat a lot. Sometimes I can eat an entire bucket of chicken. Very rare, but it can happen. Like, you still like ask in some way for it to be cleansed. You ask for it to be purified. You ask for it to be beneficial to you. Do that with your food. You do it with your, you should do it when you buy your ingredients. Don't just mindlessly wash the romaine and then put it in the salad. Are you washing it and making sure it's clean, or are you cleansing? Do it with all tools, with all food. And don't expect someone who spent their time, money, and energy, because yes, you have some random person on Etsy selling their sage bundles that they crafted from what they grew, from where they found, and they spent their money on it. They put their life into this. This is their store. This is where they get their money, and this is how they make their livelihood. You shouldn't shame someone for trying their best. You shouldn't shame someone for asking for payment for their service, like tarot, for a cleansing, as basic as it is. Ask someone to cleanse. Like, I don't mind cleansing someone. I'll try my best. I'll usually throw like every book at it in whatever language, whether I read it or not. Here you go, I tried. This is the thing I know. Hopefully. Woo. But then other people might be like, $50 or I'm not going to touch it. That's fine, respect that. Yes, you can shop around. That's also an option. But don't expect it to be free. If it's free, good on you. Good on them. They want to volunteer their time, that's good. But like me, I work for my time. I make money based off my time. That's how working works. If I'm not getting paid, I'm not going to work. Just like if I know that I'm not working, I'm not going to stay because I don't want to be paid. I'm an honest woman. I work for an honest pay. If we are no longer working, I'm going to ask to go home. Not because I don't want to stand there and do nothing and be paid to do nothing. That'd be nice. But I didn't sign up to do nothing. I signed up to do a job. And I will do that job. And when it is done and there is no more job to do, I will leave. I'm not going to work for a false pay for some job. Like, that's not good. I know someone who calls it, how do they word it? They like to take a load off a lot, where they stop and talk for like 30 minutes. That feels disrespectful to your job, to your work ethic, and to the company. Like, yeah, I don't like being a cog in a wheel for a job, but I like to be an honest person. I like to know that I did an honest day's work, and yes, they may screw me over, but I'm not screwing me over. I'm not screwing them over. I'm doing my best, and I'm doing right by them. If you have a good or service, feel free to announce it in the comments. I probably won't buy anything. I'm a little poor, but maybe someone else who watches this video might take inspiration. If you have a good or service, I want you to ask for payment. Like, no, I may not be able to afford that $400 pair of shoes on Etsy, but I love them, and I want them, and I want people to want them, so I will share it. I may not buy someone else's sage stick, or sage bundle, excuse me. But, because if I were going to use one at all, I'd make my own, personally, from like my environment, but I don't think, I'm not going to do that anytime soon because of the smoke. But I want people to know that it's okay to sell your goods. You shouldn't feel threatened by selling your, like, what makes your trade. If you want to charge people $20 per tarot reading, please do. You deserve the money. It's your energy, it's your time. If you want to charge $100 an hour for a Reiki cleansing, I mean, I don't have the market for that here that I know of, but hey, do it. It's your energy, it's your time, and you know your skill. You know how to set your pricing. I would check out the like community which you're trying to sell in to make sure that it's either competitive or like appropriate for the area, because if it's a wildly outrageous thing, you might not do so hot. But like, charge people, expect them to honor your payments, and don't like gyp people out of like their their pay. Like, they worked hard for this. And I'm sorry if you don't like the word gypped. I know that that's iffy, using the word in a sentence. But, like, don't expect to, like, freeload off people. Don't expect to take things from people. Like, that's not cool. Just honor what people are asking, and Pay them for their time, pay them for their services, pay them for all their goods. Like, know that they're working hard and they deserve to be recognized for their work. That's really the only thing I wanted to talk about today. Is just I felt it was important to bring up how you're allowed to ask to be paid for your, like, everything you put yourself into. Don't sell yourself short and don't put yourself out there for free. If you want, and if you want this, like the training, if you want to increase your skills, that's fine, but don't sell yourself short. All right, thank you so much for joining me here on So Stitch Hacks. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you have a good or service. Okay, bye. I hope you enjoyed the video.